In this episode of the HX1 tonner build, going to continue on with this tray. Now, in the last episode, we got all this frame all made up, got the tilting mechanism all sorted. I'm happy with how that's turned out. So I'm just going to continue on building the sides of the tray, get the guards in there as well. We'll just see where we get to with this episode. Now, to do the sides of the tray and the guards, there's probably a couple of ways you could tackle this. You could probably do it in situ, so you get the guards into position on the tyre and then cut each side of the guard separately. So you do 4 sections and then get everything all lined and tack it all, which I think is probably going to be quite awkward to do that. I think the best way, in my opinion, would be to remove the guard, remove the tyres, and then weld in just one piece of the side, tack that in, and then cut out the section out of there, out of the side, and then get the guard up into position and tack it in. That way it's all going to be nice and level. It might be a little bit of trial and error as well. You don't want to take too much out, so you'd have to cut a little bit and then sit it up, see how it looks, and then cut more out if needed. I've just cut them side sections and got them into position, so you can see how big the tray is going to be. I think that's going to be nice proportions with that tray. If you come at the back here, you can see it just comes in slightly from the side of the cab. So it comes in a little bit on each side, and then that's going to allow to have a little bit of guard sticking out. So it's about 70 mil. I just measured the guard and that'll stick out roughly about 70 mil from here. So I think that's going to look quite good, I reckon. Okay, I've got them sides tacked on and I've just sat that tray back onto the tonner. I've also marked the centre where the tyre is, or the centre of the diff, just here and just here. And I've also marked the centre of the guard, and to do that, I just used a piece of welding wire and just went from one end and then wrapped it around to the other end, and then took that measurement and then divided by 2, and then that gives you the center. Okay, so I'm just ready to cut these sides out for these guards to sit in there, and I've just cut a piece of angle, or 4 pieces of angle, and just welded just to here, just to stabilize that, so when I cut that out, it's not gonna drop, it's gonna stay in position. And I've just used these jack stands and just sat it up against the side there, and then kind of just marked out where I need to cut. And I've just dropped it a little bit lower, and once I get it sitting in there, I can always take a little bit more out to then lift it up as I need. Okay, that section is cut out and I've got that guard sitting up into position, and I've just spaced it out with a couple of wooden blocks. Now, the thickness of them blocks is 35 mil, so 35 mil should be plenty of clearance in between the tyre and the guard. Now, it did take me a few cuts to get that right. I had to just take out a cut, put the guard up in there to see how it looked, and then just took another cut. So I've done that about 5 or 6 times. It's just better to take off too little than too much, I guess. And I just used one of these cut-off wheels on the air tool to get that nice curve, so it sits in there nicely. Okay, just a quick one. I had a company reach out to me. Now, I normally don't do this type of thing, and the company that reached out is Olight, and the only reason why I'm cooperating is I actually have a couple of their products and I really, really rate them. Now they sent me this torch to try out, and it is a Warrior 3S and it's 2300 lumens. So it is nice and dark, so we'll give it a bell. Okay, just testing out this torch. There's a couple of settings. So the first setting, that's just on normal. Yeah, that's still pretty bright, just on normal. And then it's got another setting, turbo. Now that is turbo and that is bloody bright. So if you look down the driveway, it's got a bloody amazing throw on it. And it's also got a sensor on it. So if you get too close to an object, it automatically dims down so it doesn't burn whatever you're all shining onto. So yeah, just a little safety feature there. Okay, that's what the torch looks like. And it's got that nice tactical look to it. It's got a button on the back here, so you just half press it and that's just normal, and then full press is turbo. It's also got a button on the side so you can turn it on there also, and it's got LEDs to tell you the charge of your battery. So this thing is rechargeable, comes with a magnetic charger, so that just clips on the back and that goes into your USB. So yeah, nice and simple. It's also waterproof. It's got an O-ring here sealing up this battery compartment, so you can actually unscrew this off and replace this battery if you need to. So yeah, really nice build quality. Seems to be really durable. It's going to be, yeah, quite a little handy torch. Now Olight are doing a winter sale as of last night until the 21st. So if you are interested in this torch, you can get 35% off it. So it usually goes for $179.95, but you can get it for $134.95. And I'll put a link in the show notes below. It is an affiliate link. So after the winter sale, you can also use the discount code SG10, and that'll give you 10% off the entire Olight range. And that will pretty much last forever. So yeah, use that discount code SG10. So yeah, cheers Olight. Okay, that side's all tacked together and I think that's looking pretty good so far. So I can now do the other side. I think this side's going to be a lot easier just because I've got the reference measurements I can take off this side and then yeah, replicate on the left-hand side. Just one thing to note with these mud guards, I had to manipulate them a little bit. They did have a twist in them and they didn't sit nice and even and square. So I had to just take that twist out so they sit nice. And then also the diameter of one to the other, they weren't the same. So there was about a 10 mil difference. So I had to just get one and sort of stretch it a little bit so it would suit the other one. So just, yeah, something to be aware of. Just make sure you check them, and if you need to, just give them a massage. Okay, that is both guards tacked in, and it definitely took a lot longer than what I was expecting. It's just such an awkward thing to work with, the round guards, and especially when there is variance between the guards and there is twists and they're not even. It definitely takes a lot of time to try and get everything all nice and level and even on both sides. But yeah, it's done now anyway, so I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. I'm happy with that line as well with the tray. So if you can just see that, so the tray, that line is level with the body line of the tonner. So I'm pretty happy with how that is sitting. Okay, so I'm now at the point I need to put in some bracing to stiffen and strengthen up all this tray. But before I do that, in the previous episode, I mentioned I've got a bit of an idea on a tray top for this. And I've never seen anything done like this on a tonner before. So it's going to be quite different, but I think if it's done right, it could look quite good. Now I'll put a photo up right now of the idea, and in that photo, in that sort of bottom left-hand corner of it, you can see some CNC laser cut alloy, and then underneath that is some mesh. So that's kind of the idea that I've got, but I'm thinking what I could do is do that all over the tray top and do it in sections. So I could do, say, one section here, another section here, another section there, one there, and just continue that on. So I think to get it looking right, I'm gonna have to probably put it into CAD. Now I've got no experience with CAD, so I've got a guy coming around, he's gonna measure it all up, put it into CAD, and we'll play around with a few different ideas, a few different shapes, and then once I've got the idea that I'm happy with, and then I can weld in the bracing, because the bracing is gonna determine the overall look of the tray. I don't wanna weld that in as yet until I'm happy with the design. Because the alloy is going to bolt to the bracing, and then obviously the mesh will then bolt to the alloys. So yeah, that's the idea, and I think what I'll do is all the frame of the tray is going to be painted in the yellow vortex, the guards will be yellow vortex, the alloy sections that are laser cut, they'll be in the yellow vortex as well. And then the mesh in between will be black. So that's gonna kind of break it all up with the gold and the black and continue on that theme with the gold and the black. Okay, so I'm interested to know what your thoughts are on that tray top idea. Whether you think it's gonna look like absolute dog shit or whether you think it's gonna look okay. So yeah, leave a comment in the comment section on your thoughts on that. I'm now pretty much at the point I could probably start welding everything, but I'm sort of don't know whether I should put in all the bracing first and then start welding everything, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah, a lot of that work I can do off screen anyway, a lot of welding and grinding. You guys seen heaps of welding and grinding before. But yeah, a little bit of a shorter episode. Like I said, it definitely takes a lot longer with this tray than what I was thinking. Yeah, next episode, hopefully we'll have all that plasma cutted stuff and we'll sort of see how all that looks in the next episode. I've also got to figure out the struts or linear actuators or whatever, because yeah, it is probably going to be a bit of weight in this. So I'll probably put in struts or linear actuators at some point. And then I'll need to figure out the latching mechanism for the front as well. So I've got some parts here for that I just need to figure out how I'm gonna do it. So yeah, if you do like what I do and want to help support the channel, then you can head over to the Shanky Garage merch store. So there's hoodies, t-shirts, various products. I'll put a link in the show notes below. It helps me with what I'm doing. Also coming up, well, I've gone over 7,000 subscribers, so big thank you to you guys for supporting the channel and subscribing. So the next milestone will be 10,000 subscribers, so if you could help me out, I'd really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button, help me get to 10,000 subscribers. Also, if you are new to the channel and come across this build, I highly recommend checking out the playlist for this build, watching it in order from the very first episode all the way to the latest. So I'll put a card up in this corner. And yeah, have a binge on that. So yeah, we'll see you next time on Shanky Garage. Cheers, guys.